Hey, what's one thing God is calling you to do that you haven't done yet? You know, it's easy in our mind to think, all right, I haven't obeyed God there, but the only person that really hurts is me. But that's not the gospel story. You see, it's an amazing thing that whenever you and I obey, that obedience tends to multiply obedience. Not only for us, that as I take a step of obedience, I'm far more likely to take another step and then another step, but beyond that, God so often uses my example of obedience to spur on obedience in somebody else. And so one step of obedience can cause multiple people to take a step just as well. We saw that this past weekend within the Bayside global churches. At Bayside Granite Bay, Pastor Mark was preparing, and the text in Acts chapter 9 just said, hey, you know, this gives an opportunity for people to be baptized. And Mark thought, there's probably a lot of people out there who, for whatever reason, haven't taken this step. Let's give them the opportunity. So without sign-ups, without preparation, he just said at the end of the service, look, we don't have a change of clothes. We don't have anything for you, but the water's there. The command of Scripture is clear. If you want to do it, go right ahead. And there was a nerve-wracking moment, even in preparation beforehand. There was a little bit of debate, should we do this or not? Because it's really awkward to give an opportunity out there and for nobody to move, nobody to take it up. And then as a speaker, you got to come in behind it and make an explanation. And yet we said, hey, let's go ahead and give this a try. Let's set the climate. Let's give people the opportunity. And sure enough, as Pastor Mark kind of made the invitation, nobody moved. It was a little awkward until all of a sudden a mom came over and said, hey, that's me. And the moment she made her way to the baptistry, other people began to follow. And her simple step of obedience then was multiplied, not just in her life, but actually in the lives of other people. I even helped an 84-year-old woman to get baptized. And so when Sunday morning came along, there was no question. We were going to do this. We provided the opportunity. And so sure enough, 167 people got baptized last weekend, all because the opportunity was given. But think about it. Had that first woman not taken the step, it'd been very easy on Saturday night as we're wrapping up the service to think, hey, that didn't work. Let's not try it this weekend. And the next thing you know, the 166 other people wouldn't have even been given the opportunity to do so. Obedience multiplies obedience. And even Pastor Mark's step of obedience, it didn't start with him, because the reason he even had this idea was a couple of weeks ago at another Bayside campus, Pastor Jason Crow, they were doing baptisms. He just kind of felt within his spirit, hey, there are people here who need to get baptized who haven't been. Let's just provide this opportunity. And so his obedience spurred on Pastor Mark's obedience that led to everybody else's obedience. Never downplay what God can do with your simple step of faith. Listen to what he says in Matthew chapter 16, verse number 24. Whoever wants to be my disciples must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. I get the idea that there are times in which Christianity can be really complicated. What does it mean to forgive? How do I love other people well? What is God's will for my life? It can get overwhelming at times. But don't mistake. There's a simplicity to following Jesus. That the only thing God really requires of me and you today in this moment is for us to follow him and in trust as we take whatever is our next step of obedience. We can believe that God will use that not only to multiply obedience within our own lives, but also within the lives of others. We saw it in an amazing way last week at Bayside Granite Bay. I can't wait to see what God does this week as you and I choose to follow him.